Good day everyone, I'm Ramar Jasin Celestial, reporter number 20, and today we're going to talk about hydroelectrical power system in the Philippines, its current situations and examples. So first off, what is hydroelectric energy? Hydroelectric energy, also called hydroelectric power or hydroelectricity, is a form of energy that harnesses the power of water in motion, such as water flowing over a waterfall to generate electricity. Basically converts the energy flowing water into mechanical energy. A hydroelectric generator converts this mechanical energy into electricity. So, how does hydroelectric energy work? Most hydroelectric power plants have a reservoir of water, a gate or valve to control how much water flows out of the reservoir, and an outlet or place where the water ends up after flowing downward. The water gains potential energy and is converted into kinetic energy as water flows downhill. The water can be used to turn the blades or the turbine to generate electricity, which is distributed to the power plant's customer. So, there are three types of hydroelectric energy power plants. The most common being an impoundment facility. In an impoundment facility, a dam is used to control the flow of water stored in a pool or reservoir. When energy is needed, water is released from the dam. Once water is released, gravity takes over and the water flows downward to a turbine. As blades of a turbine spins, the power is generated. Another type of hydroelectric energy power plant is a diversion facility. This type of plant is unique because it does not use a dam. It uses series of canals to channel flowing river water towards the generator powering the turbines. Third type of power plant is called the pump storage facility. This plant collects the energy produces from solar, wind, and nuclear power and stores it for future use. The plant stores energy by pumping water uphill from a pool at a lower elevation to a reservoir located at a higher elevation. When there is a high demand for electricity, water is located in the higher pool is released. As this water flows back down to the lower reservoir, it turns the turbine to generate more electricity. So, let's talk about hydropower in the Philippines. Given the country's vast hydropower potential, more than 10% of the electricity requirements will be supplied by hydropower generation. To meet the expected increase in the demand for power over the planning period, a total of 2,950 megawatts of hydropower capacity will be available within both grid and off-grid areas. Committed and indicative capacity additions will increase over hydropower available capacity to 5,468 megawatts from the current installed capacity of 2,518 megawatts. 18 large hydropower potential are estimated to account for more than 19% of the possible additional capacity, while the remainder will be supplied by mini hydro potentials. In addition, 490 kilowatts of micro hydropower plants are targeted for installation for the planning horizon. These micro hydropower plants will be tapped for the support to the governmental rural electrification program targeting 100% of barangay electrification by 2006. The committed capacity addition is expected to provide 7.7 terawatts of electricity per year, equivalent to fuel oil displacement of 12.9. Hydropower plants are classified based on their capacity. The first type is microhydro, which produce 1 to 100 kilowatts. Second, mini hydro produces 101 kilowatts to 10 megawatts. And the third one is the large hydro, produces more than 90 megawatts. The total untapped hydropower resource potential of the country is estimated at 13,097 megawatts, of which 85% are considered large and small hydros. 14% are classified as mini hydro, while less than 1% are considered micro hydros. Some projects in the zone are available for private financing, while 20 are undergoing feasibility studies and 82 are in pre-feasibility studies stage. Potential sites for mini and micro hydro projects are evenly distributed in all regions. The National Electrification Administration, National Power Corporation, and the Department of Energy have studied specific hydro potential and have lined them up as indicative projects. The NEA has identified about 1,000 mini hydropower potential sites for development based on its mini hydro program which began in 1980s. Likewise, NPC has identified potential sites for mini hydro development. In 1995, the DOE conducted a water research inventory study to validate the NEA's and NPC's identified potential sites for promotion to private investors. Meanwhile, while the study is conducted by United States National Renewable Energy Laboratory, likewise revealed that micro hydro potential sites are well distributed all over the region. Local government units, non-government organizations, electric cooperatives, and DOE-affiliated non-conventional energy centers support this study by conducting local identification projects. Another study is entitled Micro Hydropower Development Study for Unenergized Barangays is a Japanese-funded project which aims to identify at least 40 micro hydro sites for development in regions 1, 2, and Cordillera Autonomous Region. So, the challenges and gaps of hydropower in the Philippines. The capital-intensive nature, long gestation period, and accompanying issues of social acceptable of large hydropower projects remain to be the sector's biggest challenges. On the other hand, micro-hydro development of off-grid electrification is hindered up by upfront costs and need for government intervention and subsidy. Socio-environmental concerns. There is considerable resistance to the further development of large hydropower projects due to the potential upstream flooding, destruction of agricultural areas, and animal habitat, and disruption of communities in the affected areas. These factors have affected the attractiveness of large hydropower projects. Next is shift in type of development. Given that many issues plaguing large hydropower projects, the logical step would be focusing on smaller scale, more manageable run of river projects. However, such a shift will not come without considerable challenges, such as decrease in new capacity given the smaller scale projects. Intermittent supply of power considerable decreases in power generation during the summer months. Commercialization of local hydropower plants technology. There's also need to develop and commercialize suitable micro-hydro technology in the Philippines, even as hydropower technology for large and small scale is proven and mature. The Philippines remains to be dependent on imported electromechanical equipment for micro-hydro projects. The cost of this equipment vary based on kilowatt capacity. For instance, a 5 kilowatts equipment with controls and metering device costs up to $11,000, while a 100 kilowatts equipment costs $64,500. Existing incentives. Republic Act No. 7156 or the Mini Hydro Law provides the following rights and privileges of the mini hydro developers. First privilege is special privilege tax rates. Tax payable by developers to develop potential site of hydroelectric power and to generate, transmit, and to sell electric power shall be 2% of their gross receipts. Second is income tax holiday for 7 years from the start of commercial operation. Third is tax and duty-free importation of machinery, equipment, and material exemption from payment of tariff duties and value-added tax on importation of machinery and equipment. Fourth is tax credit on domestic capital equipment. For developers who buy machinery, equipment, materials, and parts from local manufacturer, tax credit is given equivalent to 100% of the value of VAT and custom duties that would have been paid to import the said machinery equipment. Fifth, special realty tax rights on equipment and machinery. Realty and other taxes on civil works, equipment, machinery, and other improvements of a registered mini hydroelectric power plant developers shall not exceed to 2.5% of their original cost. Lastly, VAT exemption. Exemption from payment of 10% VAT on gross receipts derived from sale of electric power, whether wheel, via NPC grid or electric utility lines. Programs and projects. To address the three major challenges for this sector, the DOE or the Department of Energy will proactively monitor existing power plants in the Philippines. Enhance public acceptance. The Department of Energy shall involve all stakeholders in the decision-making process prior to the implementation of hydropower projects. This would ensure protection to the rights of communities which will be affected by specific projects. At the same time, project risk will be easier to ascertain through consultation and social assessment activities conducted jointly with all affected stakeholders. Promotion of alternative hydro development. The runoff river schemes of construction will allow for a balance of river ecosystem while providing communities dependent on the river for their livelihood to coexist with the hydropower projects. In addition, the government would place greater emphasis on the projects which are encountering social and environmental problems by treating these issues as an integral element, along with the economic and financial concerns in the decision-making process. Commercialization of the power technology. With additional incentives as stipulated in the proposed renewable energy bill, the commercialization of locally made hydropower equipment can be attained. The following measures are proposed to hasten the commercialization. Creation of hydropower database. The Department of Energy envisioned to be the central repository of database of a large, small, and micro hydropower projects and prospects. This database shall be made available to interested developers. Furthermore, the Department of Energy will conduct annual seminars, workshops on hydropower development in strategic locations to promote attractive hydropower projects to private investors. Pursuit of technical cooperation with other countries. From small-scale hydro plant development, the basic strategy for commercialization is to encourage electromechanical manufacture to set up facilities in the Philippines and reduce the cost of importation of turbine equipment. These are several local turbine fabricators in the country that can be trained to enhance the capability of manufactured turbine equipment. The DOE is pursuing a technical experts dispatch program with the Japan International Cooperation Agency or JICA to assist these local fabricators. In coordination with the De La Salle University, the Department of Energy through JICA established the Micro Hydro Testing Center in April 2003 to help improve the output and efficiency of these equipments. Rehabilitation for existing hydropower plants. The DOE should encourage investors to rehabilitate inefficient and non-operating but viable plants to increase their generation capacity. The nationwide promotional activities such as seminars and investment clinics will be conducted towards the end. One such seminars was conducted in December 2002 in Tacloban City in cooperation with the GICA to promote the rehabilitation of existing mini hydropower plants in Samar and Leyte to the interested investors. The rehabilitation plan of 4 power plants are spread over 10-year period. Hydroelectric power in the Philippines. The Philippines has a population of more than 100 million and there are 15 large dams in operation. The country's dams have a total water storage volume of 8.67 trillion cubic meter. The Philippines has a total installed capacity connected to its 3 grids of about 22,728 megawatts, comprising 3,627 megawatts of hydropower. Renewables are combined to generate 23,183 gigawatts, which was equivalent to 24.6% of total generation. Hydropower generated 9,605 gigawatt of this. IPP produces 90,613 gigawatts or 96% of total output in 2017, of which 6,968 gigawatts was sold under the contract to NPC. The rest was generated by NPC and off-grid generations. So these are the hydroelectric power plants in the Philippines. First on the list is the Agusan Hydroelectric Power Plant. The downstream facility of two proposed plants was constructed in the Milag, Manolo, Fortich, Bukidnon to serve the immediate domestic and industrial requirements of the area. The watershed is small and covers an area of around 25 square kilometer at a diversion dam. The run-of-a river plant consists of two 800 kilowatts turbine generator that uses water from the Agusan River to generate electricity. It is connected to the local distribution grid, Sepalco, through the Transco distribution line. Second is Angat Dam. It is a concrete water reservoir embankment hydroelectric dam that supplies Metro Manila and nearby provinces with water. The reservoir supplies about 90% of raw water requirements for Metro Manila and irrigates about 28,000 hectares of farmland in the province of Bulacan and Pampanga. Third is Binga Dam. It is a dam in Agno River connected to a hydroelectric power plant situated at Barrio Binga, Barangay Tingonan, Tinongdan in the municipality of Itogon in Benguet, province of the Philippines. The dam was constructed in August 1956 and is opened in May 1960 under the government-owned National Power Corporation. It is 31 kilometers southeast of Baguio City and 19 kilometers downstream of Ambuklao Dam. The dam upgraded its capacity from 100 megawatts to 140 megawatts currently. Fourth is Caliraya Dam. It is an embankment dam located in the town of Lumban province of Laguna in the Sierra Madre mountain range of the Philippines. The reservoir created by the dam, Lake Caliraya, initially supplied one of the oldest hydroelectric power plants in the country, and later became the popular recreational area for numerous water sports and fishing. The dam's construction was started in 1939 and is operated in the year 1942. Fifth is the Caseknam Dam. It is a dam diverting waters from Caseknam and Taan rivers to the Pantabangan Reservoir to 25-kilometer long tunnel located near Pantabangan and Muñoz in Nueva Ecija, province of the Philippines. The multipurpose dam provides water for irrigation and hydroelectric power generation, while its reservoir affords flood control. Sixth on the list is the Calayan Pump Storage Hydroelectric Project. Calayan Pump Storage Power Plant was built in 1982. It is first of its kind in the Southeast Asia and the only pump storage facility in the Philippines. Calayan 1 was upgraded from 150 megawatts to over 168 megawatts. Calayan 2 was built with a guaranteed capacity of 174.3 megawatts. The Calayan complex served as a large peaking facility for the Luzon grid, but its primary function is to provide frequency regulation and control. In the daytime, a period with high demand for power, the plant generates electricity. But at night, a period of low demand, Calayan pumps water from Laguna Lake into Caliraya, an igneous way of storing energy. Seventh is Magat Dam. It is a large rock-filled dam in the island of Luzon in the Philippines. The dam is on the Magat River, a majority tributary of Cagayan River. Construction of the dam started in 1975 and was completed in 1982. Magat Dam is one of the largest dams in the Philippines. It is a multi-purpose dam which is used primarily for irrigating about 85,000 hectares of agricultural lands, flood control, and power generation through the Magat Hydroelectric Power Plant. 8 is Pantabangan Dam. Pantabangan Hydropower Station located in Nueva Ecija in the Philippines consists of two 60 megawatts hydro turbines which were originally commissioned in 1977. The plant is part of multi-purpose hydro complex that supplies irrigation water for the vast rice field of Nueva Ecija, northeast of the Malina. 9 is the Pulangi Dam. The Pulangi 4 hydroelectric power plant, also known as the Pulangi Dam, is located at the Pulangi River near Maramag in Bukidnon province on the island of Mindanao, Philippines. It uses two reservoir produced by damming the Pulangi River to supply water to a run of the river hydroelectric power plant. The power plant is capable of generating 255 megawatts of power. Construction began in 1982. The first two generators became operational in December of 1985, with the last generator being commissioned in 1986. Lastly, on the east is the San Roque Dam. It is a 200-meter tall, 1.2-kilometer long embankment dam on the Agno River. It is the largest dam in the Philippines and the 16th largest in the world. It spans the municipality of San Manuel, San Nicolas, Pangasinan, and it's nearly 200 kilometers north of Metro Manila. The dam impounds a reservoir with a surface area of about 12.8 square kilometers extending north to into the municipality of Itongon, Benguet. A gated spillway protects the dam from overtopping. Each shoot season, the runoff is stored for later release via water turbines to generate power and irrigate crops. So a question asked is, why use hydroelectric power dam? Well, hydroelectric power dam has its own advantages and disadvantages. First, let's talk about its advantages. Hydropower is fueled by water, so it's clean fuel source, meaning it won't pollute the air like power plants that burn fossil fuels such as coal or natural gas. Second advantage is hydroelectric power is a domestic source of energy, allowing each state to produce their own energy without being reliant on international fuel sources. Third, the energy generated through hydropower relies on the water cycle, which is driven by the sun, making it a renewable water source, making it more reliable and affordable source than fossil fuels that are rapidly being depleted. Fourth, impoundment of hydropower creates reservoir that offers variety of recreational opportunities, notably fishing, swimming, and boating. Most water installations are required to provide some public access to the reservoir to allow public to take advantage of these opportunities. Fifth advantage is some hydropower facilities can quickly go from zero to its maximum output because hydropower plants can generate water to the grid immediately. They provide essential backup power during electrical outages or disruptions. And lastly, in addition to a sustainable fuel source, hydropower efforts produces a number of benefits such as flood control, irrigation, and water supply. After talking about advantages, let's talk about its disadvantages. First is the environmental consequences of hydropower plants are related to the intervention of nature due to damming of water, changed water flow, and construction of roads and power lines. Hydroelectric power plants may affect fish complex interaction between numerous physical and biological factors. More users' interest related to exploitation of fish species, which help that this is a field that many have strong opinions on. Fish habitats are shaped by physical factors such as water level, water velocity, and shelter opportunities, and access to food. Draining would be completely devastating to the fish. Beyond this, the amount of water may have different effects to the fish in the river, depending on the type of stage of life cycle. Not all under-regulated river systems are optimal in terms of fish production because of large fluctuations in flows. Second disadvantages is building power plant is generally expensive. Hydroelectric power plants are not exception to this. On the other hand, these plants do not require a lot of works and maintenance costs are usually low. So third is electricity generation and energy prices are directly related to how much water availability. A drought could potentially affect this. So basically, it is heavily reliant on water available. Fourth, we have already started using up suitable resources of hydroelectric power plants. There are currently 30 major power plants that are expected to generate 2,000 megawatts under construction. Only one of these projects were started in the last 2 years. So that is the end of my report about the current situation of hydroelectric power system in the Philippines. Thank you for listening.